Good morning, Ty.
Good morning, John.
How are you on this fine, fine morning?
I've missed you.
Man, okay, so let's talk about what we are doing here today. It's not the morning, and this is kind of important because if you're listening right now, you're listening to a podcast about whiskey and Nicktoons, which we call
Whiskeylodeon.
My kid is now fast asleep, I can pour myself a glass. But too many shows on Netflix are trash, it makes me wanna pass. I can't figure out what to watch, what am I supposed to do? Let's get drunk and rewatch cartoons when we were little dudes. Do Whiskeylodeon.
So, Ty, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 years ago. We're recording this at the end of 2021. We had this idea to literally get some friends together, sit in the living room, put on pajamas, watch Nicktoons, and drink a shit ton of whiskey.
It was a great time.
Yes. So, do you want to talk about kind of how that evolved into what we're doing today?
Yeah, so at first it was just a hangout. I believe that first time we did this, and we've done it a few times, we were watching like Rugrats, we were watching Doug. I think we started watching all that, which then inspired us to then watch Good Burger.
Yeah, we closed it with Good Burger.
And that was a good time to close on.
Absolutely.
And it was just a great time. And so in an era where rewatch podcasts are a thing, we decided to make this a thing.
And I think it had like iterations of, we wanted to do something with alcohol. And quick disclaimer, this podcast is going to be full of alcohol. There will be some swearing, some adult themes. So as Ty would like to say, if that isn't vibing with you,
you can leave.
Yes. So, but we want you to stay. And I think what it kind of evolved into was we're like, okay, drunk history is a lot of fun. We listened to another podcast that we love. How did this get made? And we said, well, what if we do some sort of hybrid? We wanted it to kind of be our own thing. We wanted to cater towards people of our generation, 80s babies, 90s babies. And like you said, there's something novel about, almost nostalgic about just rewatch podcasts. And I think what better network than Nickelodeon?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I'm going to say that a lot. That's probably going to be my catchphrase. Here's the thing.
Yeah, we're going to have some of those.
There is almost like a comforting feeling when you watch something you've already seen. You're not surprised. Like, you can almost like put it on in the background and go about your day as you're just listening, like, oh yeah. So that's what kind of inspired this, was let's rewatch stuff that we watched in our youth that would then just kind of bring that comfort.
And it's almost funny. It's like a lot of it is more accessible now than it was then. Because, okay, like we grew up in an era where when you watched these shows, they were on at that time. You didn't, if you missed it, you either had your parents not DVR it, put a VHS tape in there and record it.
Oh my gosh,
plenty of that
VHS tape.
But if you didn't have that luxury, I don't remember how you had to catch a rerun. So,
or you had to wait till the next year for the next holiday
So
special.
we got streaming now, and I think that just kind of helped say, like, okay, we have access to this stuff, like especially with Paramount Plus.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we got all the stuff on there. So today we're talking specifically, this is our pilot episode. I don't know if this is going to be the first episode you hear. It is the first recording of this episode. And we're going to do 2 pilots, both Rugrats and Are You Afraid of the Dark? Ty, did you have a favorite show as a kid?
Oh, that's tough. Rugrats was definitely up there. I also enjoy like Rocko's Modern Life, which going back is a lot weirder than I thought it was.
They were very into nipple play.
They were.
Right? Like, I'm not just dreaming that.
You had the main character, Rocco, like working at a sex hotline.
He did. Wow. So I think there's going to be a lot of moments in the show where we go, oh yeah, that happened. We watched that. We were allowed to watch that.
How was that on network television?
Another theme too, I think we're going to be talking about is you're gonna remember this, I think, as a kid. But a lot of these parents were so vacant. Like,
To be honest, I didn't even realize how vacant they were. Probably
until
because
these
that's how like my parents were. Like being a parent now, so spoiler, I have a child. He is almost 4. His name is Theodore Rex, so we call him T-Rex, and he's very much a dinosaur. But like,
and a real human also. A very real baby human. What is 4 years old? It's not a toddler anymore. It's also not a child. Like a chodler?
A pet?
See, it's the pet face.
Yeah, it's
but then he is a dinosaur.
He's like my Pokemon. He's kind of evolved, and he's kind of wanting to do his own thing. And I have to have like, hey, here are my like gym badges. You got to listen to me. And
Ty has a book coming out. I can say he has a book coming out because it doesn't ever have to come out as long as he has a book coming out. But I hope one day this is true.
The book is called "Your Baby's Not Evil, Just Awful."
What on earth inspired you to have this idea? Because I'm not going to contest it at all. I feel like I like babies. They're great because they're not mine.
This was really inspired by wanting to have a genuine, real conversation what it's like to have kids, because everyone just over romanticizes it. Like I think my favorite conversation I ever had with someone, it was these 2 women, and one of them was they found out I was having a child, and like, oh, I miss being pregnant, and her friend just looked at her in shock. Was like, you were such a bitch when you were pregnant. And that's the real conversation we need. Like people was like, it's the best thing that's ever going to happen to you. No, it's not. Like I love my baby, but I love my dog more. My dog's allowed in the bed. My baby's not. Like there are priorities.
He's got a corgi mix named Kenneth.
Oh, Kenneth Ellen Parcell.
And my dog has a middle name too. Ziggy Sebastius.
Oh, I didn't know that's where Sebastius came from.
Yeah, that's where Sebastius came from. Yeah. We'll get into what that is later, but yeah, dogs are fantastic, which is kind of a good segue into this first episode. We're going to talk about Rugrats.
Yes.
Because what more does a baby want than to be just like their dog? But first,
alcohol, the aqua vitae, the elixir of life, the answer to how you're going to deal with being yelled at by your child, all day. Maybe you're even enjoying a drink with your new pals on their podcast, Whiskeylodeon. Regardless of why you need a drink, it's also important to stay hydrated. And since we're not sponsored by Liquid IV, please sponsor us, please. Please. We're promoting Juicy IV. So use our promo code. Please sponsor us, Liquid IV, for 10% off some juice at the grocery store. Again, that's please sponsor us, Liquid IV, for 10% off some juice at any grocery store. Must be used in conjunction of any 10% off coupon to said grocery store. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba, Whiskeylodeon.
Ty, before we get started with this first pilot episode of Rugrats, so throughout each of these episodes, we're going to be bringing in new whiskey, different bottles, different recipes, different cocktails. Ty is a bit of a whiskey connoisseur. I am a bit of a whiskey drinker, which is a fantastic combination. He just makes me drinks. I drink them on this podcast, and by the 45 minute, you will probably know. So, Ty, do you want to talk about this very festive, lovely beverage we have in front of us?
Well, thank you. So, because we do not have a bottle to feature, we'd be like, hey, do you want to be part of our podcast? We haven't gotten that yet. So, I have made a cocktail. And if you're familiar with the hot toddy, this is the chai toddy.
The Thai toddy.
The Thai toddy, sure, but chai. So, it is a chai latte with a shot of whiskey, in which case we're using Henry McKenna bourbon, and it is fucking delish. Like you have those spicy notes of the chai matching really well with the flavors of the whiskey. It just
like green tea in there.
Yeah, that's what chai. It's actually black tea, I believe. But
okay, yeah, it's amazing. So if you do enjoy the spirits, part of what we like to do with this podcast, as long as you're not driving, operating heavy machinery, is, hey, we'll provide this recipe online for you and drink along with us if you'd like.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's liability there, Ty, but did we say all the right things?
All I have to say is drink responsibly, and then we're covered.
That's like a soundbite I'm going to steal and use often. The way you, if you can see this, the way he like leaned into the mic, owned it. The lights actually dimmed on their own. Music came on in the background, and you just heard him say,
Drink responsibly.
Sultry. Well, with that said,
first episode we got is Rugrats. The first episode, the pilot episode, Tommy's First Birthday, which came out in 1990.
how old were you in 1990?
I was 2.
I was 2.
Like that's, I don't think I saw this as a kid. I kind of had to come back to it.
Yeah, I don't remember what the first episode I saw was. I don't think it was this one.
It's going to be very hard to be like, I remember the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
But the first memory I have of Rugrats, I was watching the episode where you find out through someone's eyes, I believe it's Tommy's, that Chucky and his dad were aliens.
Yeah.
Do you remember that episode?
Not really, but yeah.
So this one's called Tommy's First Birthday. It's literally the first episode that they have. The summary they have is, during Tommy's first birthday, his friends decide they want to be dogs. And that doesn't do it justice. So I kind of want to do my own version.
Do it.
During an incredibly developed child's first birthday, Tommy consciously discovers the unbridled freedoms that come from being a dog. While trying to throw a great birthday for Tommy, Stu and Drew relive past childhood trauma.
A lot of past childhood.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna get into that. I think to do any of these episodes justice, we want to kind of do some breakdowns, some impressions. We want to know what you think too. What was your impression of the episode? Does it hold up? Does it not hold up? Sometimes that's not always the question. Are there parts that hold up? Are there parts that you're wondering, like, how did that get aired? Whatever it is, we want to hear your thoughts about that. So this episode starts with, I think, something that most parents can relate to, especially Ty, as you mentioned, being a parent. It starts out literally with the words, "Happy birthday, Tommy."
It does. Before we get there, we're going to do a little breakdown. The show was created by Arlene Klasky, Gabor Supo, and Paul Germain. It was directed by Howard E. Baker, written by Paul Germain, Arlene Klasky, and Greg Bartlett, and the music was by Mark Mothersbaugh. And some fun facts before we start. The Klasky Supo Inc., which created Rugrats and its spinoffs, also created Real Monsters, The Wild Thornberrys, and Rocket Power.
I don't know which of those three are my favorite. They're all gems, man.
They are. And we will cover them at some point. Rugrats was also created when Paul Germain's son, Tommy, was, in fact, a year old. So I'm kind of curious. Paul, were you also an absentee father like Stu?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Stu a lot. So if you came here to get just a summary of the episode, you'll get a little bit of that, but we're mostly going to be talking about Stu. We have a lot to pick apart there. A lot. Yeah, so 1990, okay. I remember Rugrats being the first show that I watched, I think as a kid. I'm pretty sure.
Rugrats was, in fact, Nickelodeon's first animated series.
Makes sense. And by the way, if you have a chance, check out The Orange Years. I believe it's on Paramount Plus. It's a documentary about Nickelodeon, the early beginnings of it. It's incredible. A lot of really cool interviews as well. We'll probably cover that documentary on here at some point because I think it's a really good overarching story just about how this amazing network started. Like, we knew we loved it as kids, but when you watch this as an adult, as I hope you will listen to this podcast as an adult, I think you're going to get a big takeaway from it. With that said, let's dive into some Rugrats.
Let's dive in. So, first thing, we got to talk about that theme song. Like, that theme song is so synonymous with Nickelodeon in and of itself.
It's a perfect, playful opening. And I think one thing that they did well with the theme song and this episode is character introduction, which we aren't thinking about as kids, right?
No.
But it has to be spot on for us to get it and to relate to these kids. And they just do such a good job with, I mean, you get just about everything you need in that theme, and the music itself too. It's kind of got that like rattly, like toy piano kind of,
almost like a xylophone.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. So remix. Sorry.
Oh shit.
I should not have
The
done
whiskey's
that.
kicking in.
The whiskey's kicking in.
Yes.
But yeah, that theme song is just that's iconic. But we open up. Tommy's eyes literally open up and see the sign, "Happy Birthday." He had his parents right there, and this is when I started almost reliving some childhood trauma with Stu.
Ooh, you want to unpack that a little bit?
I do, because like Stu is sitting there talking about this hoverama, and I realize like he's a quote unquote inventor, and he's wanting to make toys for his son, which cool. But here he is like just talking about this while Dee Dee is having her earring pulled by Tommy. She's in pain, and he's not even being cognizant of his wife and child. Like he is off in his world. He's just
Is it fair to say self-obsessed? Is that taking Stu too far?
I think so. I think what it is because you meet his dad, Grandpa Lou, and he's not really impressed with Stu. Never really been impressed. And I feel like Stu is spending so much time trying to prove himself to his son, who doesn't give a shit.
Has no idea.
Has no idea.
Has no idea what's down there in that basement, which we're going to talk about in a
Oh
little
my
bit.
gosh, yes.
Oh my God.
But it's like he's wanting to prove himself to himself at the expense of his wife and child.
Which, yeah, I think in a modern day relationship that would have been addressed pretty soon. But Dee Dee's got her own shit going on too. Let's be fair. But Stu, we're gonna talk about this first scene. How he apparently this is his first diaper changing. Ty, have you been pissed on?
No, but I have been shat on.
And now let's talk about when you're changing your baby's diaper. Have you been pissed on before?
No.
See what I did there?
I did see what you did there. It's what I will say about changing a baby's diaper, especially that first year, like after they've reached a year old. It's a wrestling match. I literally have to like pin him down as he's crying. I'm like, I'm just trying to help you. Fuck off. like I literally just had this Facebook memory pop up today. It's like, if there's anything having a child has taught me is that I would negotiate with terrorists. And then the hashtag is like, fine, take a fucking cookie, just let me change your diaper. And that's real. That's the conversation people don't have about parenthood, which is inspiring that book, that callback, boom.
Boom.
But yeah, like that's just, he's sitting there freaking out. Like, and you find out Stu doesn't have a job. But Dee Dee's doing all the work with the baby.
Right. What? Do they try to establish that he... Also, sidebar, I think Stu and Dee Dee are 32 years old in this. I read something recently.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That blows my mind. That's how old I used to be, which I guess is going to happen like every time happens. That's how old I used to be. But that kind of blew my mind. But at the same time, I didn't read too much into it. But it's almost comical how incompetent Stu is just from the get-go. Again, character introduction, right? We get a lot from Dee Dee, Stu, not so much Tommy in this first scene, but we're going to as the episode progresses.
Right. So Stu is a inventor. He even considers himself a scientist. Sure, whatever. Dee Dee is a part-time teacher of home economics. This isn't really shown in this episode, but like, how the fuck are they affording that house?
There's probably some creepypasta theories out there.
And you know what? I think we should explore that in a separate episode, which we're going to call Conspirolodeon.
Oh.
Where we delve into the conspiracies behind Nickelodeon shows.
It's like we planned that, but we also didn't.
We did it. We kind of looked at each other and it's just...
Yeah, you're going to get some of that here, guys. It's the whiskey. It makes us sentient.
This is also the scene when we first hear of Dr. Lipschitz. And...
I'm such a child, but like, I feel like as a kid, I was just cracking the fuck up every time. Like, and that shows up a lot throughout the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Lipschitz. Lipschitz, which is kind of what Tommy's food looked like when they were like shit that went in his lip. I don't know. I'm probably reading too much into it. But
I originally thought that this was just like a really funny joke that somehow the writers got past the network executives. But turns out like it's actually the name of a very prominent mathematician, Rudolf Lipschitz. So there's like a lot of like mathematician theories, whatever. You could tell I did not go to college. But it was still really
study math material
when
you were in college.
Mathematisium.
It's better to have that as a minor.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is also when we hear about the #1 rated puppet show that they have gotten for their child's first birthday.
And I love Grandpa Lou in this because he's kind of our commentary, just really calling out how stupidly extravagant this first birthday is.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Which I think I've seen first birthday parties like this modern day, but I've come to notice that it's really just about parents being able to drink, and I'm here for it. But this was pretty over the top, and they're stressing out about it, and Lou's like, yo, calm your shit.
Yeah, he's not going to remember this.
No. Except, I don't know, Tommy. Tommy will, because of what happens later.
Oh my goodness, yes he will. So, as they are trying to feed him, Tommy notices a dog commercial, Husky's Choice. You'd almost wish you were a dog.
And the dog's not a husky.
No, in fact, it looks like that Sid's dog from Toy Story.
Yeah, a little bit. A dachshund? Is that it? I don't... Well,
No.
it's a part slinky, part...
No. I'm talking about Sid's dog.
Sid's dog.
Yeah,
Oh, I was thinking slink.
like the kind of dog that Target used back in the day.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of dog that is.
I just always equate it with evil.
A Sideranian. Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I don't think this is a weird confession, because let me know if y'all have done this before. I have eaten, like, Scooby snacks as a kid, like dog treats. Some of them were pretty good. I'm not going to lie. So I get why when the babies see this commercial, they're like, yeah, I want to eat that and become a dog. Just me?
No, it's not just you. In fact, like, this is not a dig at Taco Bell.
Always a good segue.
But from what I understand, Taco Bell has like grade D beef. Like, it's just very low grade. Dog food has like grade C. So like your dog is literally eating better than you whenever you have Taco Bell.
I sure hope so.
Which is why I still eat there, because I want my dog to feel special.
Do you feed your dog Taco Bell?
No, I give him his food, and then I eat Taco Bell to be like, see, you got it better than me.
You don't have like tradesies night?
I know what it does to me. I'm worried what it will do to him.
Do better, Ty. So he sees this commercial, right? Like, they're feeding him his really gross-looking food, right?
Yes.
And he sees this on TV. What happens?
So Stu is trying to feed him, doing like an airplane thing, and the baby's like, no, motherfucker, and knocks it out of his hand, and it gets on his quote-unquote favorite shirt.
Here's your chance. Lunge.
Oh no, my favorite shirt!
Oh, dear.
I paid $75 for this shirt. It's a Giorgio Laurenti.
I know, honey.
It's a replaceable.
Oh, for the love of Betsy, it's just a shirt.
You think the stale?
This is a lime green shirt that's hideous, but he says he spent $75 on this shirt.
He got ripped off at the thrift store.
Which again, they are subsiding on a part-time home economics teacher's salary. Whose fucking money is he spending?
That's probably like a full day.
He called it a Giorgio Laurenti shirt.
Well, it does sound fancy.
It does sound fancy, but he has no business. Like, where's he going? He's not going to job interviews. He's sitting in his, like, saw dungeon.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
I'm almost ready to go there, but I think we have a couple more things to talk about.
We do. In fact, the only thing we have to talk about is the entrance of Howard and Betty.
Ooh.
With Phil and Lil.
Yes.
Which kind of blew my mind. So, Betty, Phil, and Lil are all voiced by the same voice actor.
It's incredible.
It blows my mind. Like, that range, that talent.
The talent level on the show is... We could talk about that for a minute. Like, I just recently... So, Rugrats did a reboot, and they've been really, really active on social lately, and you get to see a lot more accessible behind the scenes of some of these like just read-throughs with the cast. And if you think it's impressive just knowing that, you know, one actor might voice a few different characters, go on the Rugrats Instagram and watch some of these read-throughs, man. Like, it's impressive. Just seeing how committed they are after all these years, too. It's so great. So we love the show already, but that just adds an element that I think just makes it so much more special.
Oh, absolutely. But now we can enter the inspiration of Saw, Stu's Nightmare Dungeon.
Oh, God damn it.
They play some pretty creepy music to go with it. So they know. They have to know how creepy this dungeon looks. And
we're going to, if you take a look on our Instagram, you can see a screenshot we have right now. It's so quick. You might miss it if you're just watching because it's a quick pan through of the dungeon. But take a look at it. And Ty, can you kind of unpack this setting that we catch in like a frame? What do you get from it?
There's nightmare fuel.
Nightmare.
I mean, you have a duck that looks like it could murder you.
Oh, there is a duck in there.
You have a mobile that has like a shark dog and a cannon.
Why?
And then like if you look in the left hand corner, you see this robot that oddly resembles Stu. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I have so many thoughts.
Thoughts and probably some creepy theories.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that because there's a point later on that just drives home like a theory I have, which we will explore later as well as in Whiskeylodeon. But yeah, he's trying to invent all these toys for his child, and these feel like toys that would have been made in The Nightmare Before Christmas if they weren't trying to give presents. Like, I was like, hey, we're still in Halloween. Here's some creepy stuff.
I know. I feel like we should have heard "What's this?" as we went into the basement of Stu Pickles.
Yes. So from there, we finally come back up to the parents, and you see Spike. He's outside. I think he's in the garden, and all the parents leave the kids, like
as they will do for every remaining episode of the show.
Like I feel like we need to take a drink every time the parents just leave.
Ooh, what have I been doing? I've been taking a drink every time I'm not talking.
Oh, well, we're going to take a drink now.
Oh, yum.
So, this is when you find out that a 1-year-old can speak.
Chucky, Phil, I got just one word to say to you. What? Dog food. Dog food? Dog food. I tried to get some from Spike's bowl, but Grandpa stopped me.
Why would you want to eat that stuff?
Well, Spike eats them. Look at him. Maybe if we eat that dog food, we'll turn into dogs.
You mean we could sleep in the flowers?
And lick people?
And wear a collar with our names on it? I don't know. Maybe it's not such a good idea. Dogs don't have it so good. They always got fleas and junk.
Fleas? Let's do it.
And this, to keep kind of circling back to character introduction, I think you get it here. So you get it from Tommy, the kind of like spirited adventurer. Phil and Lil, the silly, will kind of do anything.
If it gets them dirty, they're in.
If it gets them dirty, they're in. And then Chucky, the shy, reserved kind of voice of reason. I don't know about this, guys. This might not be such a good idea. So
and then
that's all in like one line of dialogue.
I mean,
basically
3, but still.
I mean, per person.
Okay, fair. But then, going on to introductions, we then are introduced to our main villain, Angelica.
Angelica. Yep. I don't know what else there's to say about her. Like, Cynthia's pretty fucking cool.
I mean, as the basis of every Hallmark woman of power who's about to go to a hometown and fall in love with some small town guy and leave her job, sure.
There's a bake sale somewhere in there.
There is a bake sale that's needed to save Christmas.
Oh, yeah. It's the only way. Yeah, we get Angelica in there who... How does she kind of react to all this? I mean, well, she doesn't initially react to this dog food thing more so than like, hey, Tommy, it's your birthday. I get dibs on opening the presents first.
Not even the opening. It's like, you can open the presents, but I get first dibs.
Yeah, almost like, open that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much your shit's mine.
Yeah.
So, that's introduced, but then they pull up, and we're back into the nightmare dungeon.
Yeah. We're back here again.
And like, literally, you have the doorbell ring, and it's like this clown cuckoo that just comes out. Doorbell.
It's like a jester thing, right?
Yeah.
Like when we were prepping for this episode, I swear we paused it for like 30 minutes to look at this creature, and it's unsettling.
Now, here's the thing. This wasn't made for his child. This was made for Stu.
Right. No, it's just for Stu. So I think this is a good time for you to talk about some of your theories, because something happens in the kitchen after we see this doorbell, right?
Yeah.
We get Boris and Minka.
Yeah, Boris and Mika come in the cars are talking like this. And it brings back memories. So I'm sitting there having fun. And then Stu comes up. He goes, great, everyone's here. Let's open up Tommy's present. Like, he literally glitches. Like, it's not just audio. Like, literally, his face glitches.
Hi, Boris. Hi, Minka. Great, everyone's here. Let's open the presents.
Okay, here's my theory. I think he made a robot and tried to transfer his consciousness into a robot because he thought that would make him more appealing to his wife, to his child, to society. Fuck you, Dad, I became a robot. But the robot took his human body, and now we have a robot pretending to be a parent, which is why he doesn't want to touch a baby. He's like, oh, I could short circuit if I mess with some shit.
So this is like the prequel to Westworld in your mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so Ty and I are on opposite ends of this. I think it's a cartoon, and I don't think that they necessarily had all this thought put into it, which is kind of why I like your theory, because it's way more fun than just Stu's creepy.
Well, on top of that, why would they have left it in? They had Nickelodeon money. They could have easily just cut out just a little bit, and boom, there was no issue. But the vocals, the audio was glitched. His face was glitched. It was in there for a reason.
You keep drinking more of that whiskey, you're going to start glitching out. It is a little weird, I'm not going to lie. And if we entertain the idea, it becomes more fun. So I think everyone should just kind of jump on board with this theory. I mean, we're going to see this dungeon in later episodes, I think, if you're familiar with Mr. Friend.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that episode, and we won't talk about this for too long, but like that episode was the one that gave me like night terrors, man. Like, if you're not familiar with that episode, go watch it or don't. It's the episode where Stu creates this accidental army of clown baby robots. Is that, I don't know what else to call it.
I don't know. But,
and the kids call him Mr. Fiend, of course.
But go to our social media, check out, we're going to put up those screen grabs. Tell us what you see. Tell us what you think of those toys. Like, would you have wanted that toy as a kid? Would you want to give your kid one of those toys? Or what is giving you the most nightmare? Just guess. Let us know. I guess I'm slurring because I've had too much, but that's fine. We're going to keep going.
Just wait till we get to Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Ooh. So we're opening presents. And this is kind of when you see like a little sibling rivalry. You get Drew giving Tommy a what is that? A fireman truck.
Fire truck.
A little fire truck. And Stu just passes a little jib. He goes, oh, that's all you got? Oh, wait till he opens my present. And that's when he opens up the Hoverama. It is a hovercraft.
It's pretty impressive, to be honest.
It really is.
Like after everything we saw in that dungeon, it was pretty cool.
And it actually worked.
Yes.
But
oddly well.
He forgot the batteries. Oh. And immediately when it's like, it's not working, and then he's like, oh, I forgot the batteries. Boris and Minka are just shaking their head. They do not approve of Dee Dee's marriage to him.
No.
They are Jewish disappointed.
Mm-hmm. They seem disappointed in like everything most of the time, but Stu especially, I think is really good at doing a little letdown.
So then the most favorite present comes in. Howard brings in walkies. And it's like, I remember having this. I still have this. I have a thing where I can put in a camera that also has audio, so I can hear what's happening and see what's happening with my baby in his crib.
I think you're talking about a Furby.
Sure. And like I can actually talk into the microphone and be like, hey baby, you okay? And he can answer and I can hear him. So I mean that is pretty cool. But this toy or this thing for the kids is then co-opted by the adults. So they're like, oh, I wonder what's the range on this thing. Copy over. Like they just get all into it and then they leave without Howard. Howard has to chase them. It's like, hey guys, so there's also this.
Yeah,
like,
too.
Like Howard's not liked. He's always cut off
He's
by
not
Betty.
hated. He's just kind of like
He's
in the background.
People are indifferent to him. They don't care.
It's Howard.
Which, I mean, we're going to find out Howard actually is pretty funny. He's a likable guy, but no one likes him.
Yeah, I don't know that they don't not like him. You don't think they like him?
I mean, they don't hate him, but it's definitely not like...
It's like it's neutral. I feel like that's worse than anything.
Yeah.
To be neutral.
Like, we don't mind you're here, but we don't care that you're here.
Yeah. Like, if someone hates me, I had an effect on them. At least.
Oh, that power.
Yeah. But if I'm neutral, it's like a wet rag.
You're like, I'll just put you in a
fine. I'm
bucket.
just going to throw you over there. So, I feel like the underlying motivation for the babies in this episode is to become a dog.
Yeah.
So as the parents are out playing with the walkie-talkies, which I'm not going to lie, that was one of my favorite gifts as a kid, walkie-talkies.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And it was kind of creepy at times. You'd be sitting there and like the radio frequency would come through, and this was very novel at the time, so we didn't really know what we were hearing. It was always ghosts, right? There were ghosts. That's what our brains did at the time.
Or time travel. Because you'd hear these conversations like this conversation's happening here.
This like reverse reverb. Yeah. I'm here for it though. So I get what the excitement was for the adults, but they just kind of abandoned the whole birthday at that point.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we're back to the babies.
Fuck them kids.
That's a bumper sticker. That's chapter 17 of Ty's novel.
So we get to dog food again, take 2. So Tommy, while his parents aren't paying attention to him, again, but at least Dee Dee's there, he is going for the dog food. And Dee Dee was like, where's Tommy? And grabs him. And he was so close, and he's so disappointed. He's grieving. And that's when he just starts crying. And Dee Dee's like, I'm having some feelings because like the problem with a child crying when they're so little is that you don't know what the problem is. And here I can empathize with Dee Dee. She's picking up the child. She's like, "Hey, let me hold you. Let me be there." And he goes, "No, I don't want you." And you take that personally because you're sitting there like, "Oh, I'm trying to change your diaper. I'm trying to help you. Let me rock you." It's like, no, motherfucker, leave me alone.
Fuck off, mama.
I feel like that needs to be an audio clip.
That's probably that can't be my thing.
No, fuck off, mama.
Well, we'll see what happens next episode, everyone.
But anyways, so he's crying in the face of failure, and then that's when Dee Dee has this moment where you kind of get more of her character. She goes, I will never live up to being the mother I want to be, like those moms on TV.
Oh, that line broke my heart a little bit because Dee Dee she's sweet, she's caring, she's nurturing, she's just trying to do the best.
Yeah.
And then yet some of it comes across as like for the wrong reasons, right? Like it's not, I'll never live up to making this day a special day for my son. It's, I will never live up to being like someone else. I'm like, Dee Dee, you don't have to do that.
Right?
Just don't be like your husband.
I mean, you can barely afford to have one bum.
I'm confused about it, but it's true. Yeah.
But then now we get the puppet show. People come in, and they're bringing in the sets. They're bringing in the props. But where are the actors?
Uh-oh. So what happens here?
So this is when you find out that on the sign, whoever fucked up, I'm thinking Stu,
Yeah.
They didn't sign up the puppeteers. They just signed up for a package, probably still trying to be cheap. They're like, oh, we'll do this one. Not realizing it doesn't come with the actors, the puppeteers.
No, just the hardware.
Just the hardware.
Have you noticed that some of these NPCs, these background people, they never seem to give any fucks about anyone's feelings? Like, sign here, lady. Yep. Like, they're just the flattest. I kind of like it. I don't know why. Does that say something about me, Ty?
It's more honest because, like, the actors, they're sitting there, oh, make sure you have a great time. These people are just movers.
Yeah.
They're just trying to do a job. They just want their check, and they want to go home, and they want to drink.
They want to
go home and ignore their kids.
And drink to a podcast that they'll be listening to in, like, 30 years.
But anyway, so Stu thinks he's going to save the day. And it's like, hey, we can do the puppets. Come on, Drew. We did whatever play we did. And Drew is, of course, hesitant. It's like, I don't know. But Stu pulls him in. And that's when the childhood trauma starts.
Oh, it speaks loudly.
Now, I have a little brother. We're about
Me too. How old?
22 months apart.
We are 21 months apart.
Oh, shit.
This was destiny, Ty.
This was destiny. This is fate.
This is.
And so, like, I get the whole, like, sibling rivalry and all the stuff we did as kids. Like, this spoke to me, but also was like, come on, guys. You have... there's therapy in this day and age. More so now. So, use our gift code for better health.
Yeah. Out of you and your sibling, what's your sibling's name?
TJ.
TJ. So you and TJ, you're older.
Of course.
Okay. Who had like who traumatized who? Because I think that's at an age where it's not 5 years apart, right?
Yeah.
Where the older brother usually does the traumatizing.
So
do you have a story that comes to mind?
I was the older brother. And so I want to say this as nicely as possible.
This won't be nice.
He traumatized himself.
Oh.
So, yes, we were kind of jerks to each other. We fought all the time. But he felt like his friends liked me more, which they did, because I was the older, cooler kid.
So you weren't like neutral?
Yeah, I mean, if it's...
Or hated? Just loved?
Yeah.
Oh.
By everyone but my brother.
Oh.
Now, like, for example, I'll share this story. We shared a room. For a while, we had bunk beds, but then we finally got our own beds, but we're still in the same room. And I'm sitting there trying to read a comic book, and my little brother's trying to tickle my feet, being a little dickhead, and I finally just kicked him in the face, and his tooth came out. So, one, I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to be in so much trouble.
How old were you?
I was probably 8, he was 6.
Is that how he lost his first tooth?
I think so.
Because you kicked his tooth out.
Yeah.
God damn.
It gets worse. So I'm sitting there freaking out, but he's excited. He goes, oh my goodness, I'm going to get $1. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're totally going to get $1. And we're fine. So then the next day, apparently his other tooth also got loose because he was sitting there pestering me, and we had just rewatched Ninja Turtles. And I don't know if you remember, they had like tape on Raphael's mouth, and they rip it off and goes, ow! And so I was like, oh, I'll do that to TJ. So he's sitting there talking. I'm like, TJ. He goes, what? And I put a sticker in his mouth, and I ripped it off with his other tooth in the sticker.
2 teeth?
2 teeth. And
everyone,
again,
you are listening to the 2 Teeth Tie podcast.
he was just excited to get another $1. But yeah, I felt bad because his teeth kind of grew in, and one of his teeth kind of grew crooked.
Oh, no.
So, TJ, if you're listening to this, you deserved it, but I'm sorry.
I think that's a great story. I don't think there's any like moral or takeaway from it. I just enjoyed listening to it. I lost my first tooth doing something stupid. So when we talk about who traumatized who, I think I traumatized myself. Other than the time that I pushed my toddler brother into the pool and he almost drowned and someone had to save him. That's neither here nor there.
Oh my gosh.
I was little. He was little. I thought, hey, what will happen? Yeah. Murder. Yeah. But everything's fine. But I remember watching, I guess it was probably like Nat Geo or just like the climbers climbing mountains. And I thought it was like the most badass thing you could do was climb. And I went outside. I had a roll of packaging tape, and Ty, I shit you not, I had this tape on my hip. I threw it over this branch on Calico Pool Lane in Fairfax, Virginia. This one big tree. I was like, this tree is my tree. I will conquer it. And I threw it over, and I started climbing up, and I probably got, honestly, probably 5 or 6 feet up that tree. Like, that tape was holding until it didn't. And that's how I lost my first tooth. The asphalt punched it. It kicked it. The foot of the asphalt kicked its way through my teeth, much like Ty did to his baby brother.
So I lost my first tooth. We're just going to share like these
Tooth
stories.
Yeah, it's relatable to Rugrats.
I was in karate, and so me and my friend, we were learning what's called a kata. That's like a karate dance, whatever. And so we're sitting there both like turning our heads, looking at the other people, trying to learn it. And so the next move was him punching and me blocking. But I didn't block in time, and we're both just looking. So like literally I get punched in the face. And that's how I lost my first tooth.
I think there's got to be some. We should take a survey, Ty, of like how neurotypical are you based on how organically you lost your first tooth? Because if you can't tell already, these two people talking in this room are not normal. And I think it goes back to that first time you lose your tooth.
It's going to be a new BuzzFeed quiz.
Yeah. I think we'll find some. We'll send out a Venn diagram.
Oh man!
So let's get back to this birthday party.
Yeah, to the childhood trauma. So first thing, they start fighting because Drew is not living up to Stu's expectations. Which shame on Stu for having those expectations.
That's their problem. They don't live up to each other's expectations.
They don't. But first off, Stu gets mad because he's remembering when Drew. Actually, no. Drew was mad because Stu was breaking his stuff and then running to Dad. That was the first line of...
And all the meanwhile, this is all happening through puppeteering.
Yes.
You don't ever see them emote. These are Little Red Riding Hood, right?
Yeah, it was Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, like, it's... Like, he had Stu as Riding Hood, and he had Drew as the wolf. And he was like, "My, what big ears you have?" And he goes, "Thanks. They come with the fur." Like, just, like, totally not remembering the story.
Right.
So, like, Drew is failing. But he didn't come to a birthday to remember childhood stories.
No.
He came to ignore his kid and drink with adults.
As we should do from time to time.
So, now we go to dog food take 3. Tommy goes in to try and get the dog food. And the door closes, and when it opens back up, Spike comes out. And all the kids are like, "Oh, Tommy? It worked."
Oh my God.
Like, they are, like, super impressed.
I thought it did too the first time I think I saw this. Right?
I mean, I saw the cowboy switch happen.
Well, it's pretty smooth.
It was very smooth. But that's when they find Tommy and, like, "Oh, you changed back to a dog." And he was like, "I was never a dog. They ran out of food." And he's just sad again. Like here's a kid on his birthday, and he's dealing with depression already.
Year one.
So, back to childhood trauma. Apparently, Drew traded Stu's baseball cards for a hat because Stu left them in Drew's room and wouldn't clean them up.
Somehow, everyone else in the living room is, like, very intrigued by this conversation. Like, they cut away to, like, the couch, and you see the whole rest of the family basically just like, huh.
Well,
like, they might as well have had popcorn.
They should, but this is very eye-opening for them. They're like, this makes so much sense why they are the way they are.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, this is like reality TV where you're sitting there seeing drama, and you're like, I can't turn away.
It's cringe at its best.
And then we cut to, there's a can in the kitchen, and Tommy and Angelica have climbed the kitchen counter. How? I don't know. I can't figure it out how a 1-year-old, with the help of a 2-year-old.
Is Angelica 2?
Maybe she's 3. She's very young.
So wait, was that at T-Rex stage? We said it wasn't a toddler. It was a pet. She's at pet stage.
No, because she definitely wasn't.
She wasn't
past
4.
3. Yeah, she was definitely 2.
So
possibly
super toddler.
3. Yeah, super toddler. But like, how did they? Like, there was no chair, no step stool. They literally climbed it. How? Like, these kids are so advanced, and I'm kind of impressed because my kid, he took his sweet time. He took his sweet time to walk because his whole thing was, hey, if I cry, you'll just carry me. Like, he was smart, but he was stupid lazy.
I would do that in like car rides as a kid, like not cry, but fake to be asleep. So like I was like, I want to be carried in. Like everyone did that, right? It's like, you know what? Like I'm kind of asleep, but not really. But I'm gonna definitely pretend to be asleep. And that was how I celebrated my 21st birthday.
I kind of do that now, where it's like I just pretend to be asleep, and then mom's like, all right, I'll cuddle up. Because if I'm awake, she's like, pet my hair, like give me back rubs, and I'm
That's
like,
the verb.
Sleep.
Pet your hair.
Yeah, pet my hair. Play with my hair. Sorry, play with my hair. And so if I'm awake, she's like, all right, well now you got to rub my back. You got to give me like head pets.
It becomes conditional at that point.
It does.
That's a
but if I pretend to be
ping-pong
asleep,
match from hell.
she just snuggles, and we are good.
Hell yeah! You just revealed that on a podcast
to a live audience.
Yes, we are
of
here
you.
in front of all of Stu's failed inventions watching us record. So we're going to wrap up this episode. There's a few more things that happened.
Yeah. So Chucky, turns out he's the one that had the batteries, which how did he get those? You find out that Drew bent Stu's bike handlebars because Stu wrecked Drew's skateboard. And as soon as the skateboard's mentioned, Stu is triggered.
That's the thing. Yeah. That was the catalyst.
And so that's when Dee Dee finally intervenes. And Boris is entertained. Then you get to the Hoverama shenanigans. That's when the kids have gotten the Hoverama going. They have picked Tommy up. They are swinging him around. He has knocked down the dog food, but he's also knocked down plates.
Is on the top. There's a can.
Yeah.
A lonely can on top of the cabinets where really shitty fake greenery should be.
Yes.
Especially in the 90s.
Especially
What is
in the
that
90s.
doing? I mean, we don't need to question it, but that's just... Maybe they knew. They knew.
I think they're just irresponsible.
Yeah, they don't feed their dog, apparently.
But yeah, so like plates are crashing, flowers getting thrown everywhere because Angelica gets tossed into it. Like the kids are screaming.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear any of that. Could you repeat that again? I didn't hear any of that because I'm in the living room watching a puppet show.
And finally, we find out this was actually the catalyst. Tony Bow Wow was Stu's favorite stuffed toy, and Drew tore his ears off when he was 4 because I was just a kid. I didn't know.
Which
I feel
probably
like
should have been the whole start of the conversation. Like, yo, we were fucking kids.
Yeah.
I don't like that sentence. we were kids.
Okay, that was an adjective, not a verb.
Yes, yeah. Let's be very clear to our audience here.
Oh, man. So, finally, Tommy sticks the landing on a spike. Spike, thanks for catching Tommy. And then the Hoverama runs into the cake, in which case we find out it was carrot cake.
Which I like now.
I mean, sure.
But not for a 1-year-old.
But at a kid's birthday party?
No.
Like, I'm with Boris. Boris is like, it should have been chocolate cake. Like, that's... Yeah, who makes carrot cake for a 1-year-old? Which, again... it is for the adults. Let's just be real.
That's why Dee Dee's never going to be like those moms on TV. She's making carrot cakes. They're making Neapolitan.
Yes. And so they're sitting there. Everyone's worried. And they're like, oh, no, this birthday's ruined. And Howard, being hella hilarious, because I don't know. I thought that was a spirited performance.
He's finally impressed. He's arced at this point.
He has made a funny.
Yes.
And everyone stares at him like, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and to which he does.
He does.
Yes.
He's a beta. He's the beta male.
Oh.
So I'm sad that he doesn't get the props for his joke because he brings the thing that people want to play with.
That was genuinely laugh out loud as an adult.
Absolutely. That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And then he makes his joke and no one wants to give him credit.
Yeah.
He's more impressive than Stu. Like, I don't know why, like, Howard and Dee Dee aren't having an affair. Like,
we don't know that they're not.
This is true.
They don't explicitly say these adults aren't swingers.
This is true. And they are at the house a lot.
A lot. Maybe that's what they were doing in the backyard with the walkie-talkies.
But that was all the boys there. So, I mean, unless like,
Hey,
it's
they
Drew.
could be fluid, man.
I mean, maybe. Okay. Maybe they're fluid.
Yeah. We don't know.
We don't know.
Swinging on the swing set.
And that's when Kate gets on Stu's other favorite shirt, which is just a brighter lime green shirt.
It's worse.
It was slightly worse. Like
Somehow.
no wonder it was your second favorite. It was slightly worse. But if that's your favorite shirt and your second favorite shirt,
So it is an ugly shirt. It's his second one, and it's kind of like the running joke of this episode. But it still like begs the question of just like, this is why we talk about Stu so much for this episode. He kind of sucks.
yeah.
That's all I got. He kind of sucks.
So we finally, Boris is wanting chocolate cake. Of course, you got Minka. It's like, oh, he's so international now. Like, it's just, Dee Dee didn't have a happy marriage to model her relationship on. And it makes sense. Like, welcome to A Therapist Reacts to Rugrats. We are not therapists. But kids finally get to the dog food.
They get it.
Success. And they at first spit it out in disgust, but then like, actually, that wasn't that bad.
I think it's working.
Yeah. And then they start barking like dogs, which we forgot to mention. Angelica wanted to be a dog because she wanted to wear a spiked collar and bite the mailman.
Yeah.
Like, clearly,
Adds up.
their desire to become a dog really explored their character
It
development.
speaks to exactly what all of each baby is.
Which should be another BuzzFeed article. Why would you want to be a dog? And that tells you your personality. Which Rugrat person are you?
Yeah. Why would you want to be a dog that loses its tooth? That's our third hybrid quiz. We do that from time to time here.
And there we go. That was the first episode of Rugrats.
Well, and it ends on such a sweet note because, like, at the climax of it, like the hoverama crashes, I guess, right into the cake, right?
Yeah, right into the cake.
Everything's ruined, but the babies are they don't care. They're happy. They're a dog.
They're barking like dogs.
It's Stu of all people who were like, as everyone just kind of like in a big fizzy. Hold on, guys, look, and they all look over at the babies just being themselves, and that's just, it's a beautiful moment where they can just appreciate, like, hey, we have made this party about ourselves, and it's not. And look at this success, and then it ends with like a nice little snapshot pilot.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotions I had with watching this episode, but overall, I think it holds up.
I 100% agree. I don't know if we'll always end an episode breakdown with does it hold up or not, but like this totally does. Like it works in 2021, and I think if it can work almost 30 years later, like I think it's going to be timeless. And yeah, I will drink my whiskey to that, good sir.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink.
From the mind at Studio Stew, creator of the Hoverama, comes a new line of toys for toddlers. From self-hatching Big Birds to the RoboDad 3000, your toddler is about to explode with excitement. Sure, they could probably be entertained with an empty toilet paper roll, but why settle for less when you could give your baby the best with the hopping Bunny Hippo Nightlight? Studio Stew's Toys for Tots. It's not creepy if it's love. Whiskeylodeon.
Okay, Ty. Ready for another one?
Let's do it.
Now, did I mean another show or another drink?
I don't see how they are mutually exclusive.
All right, let's do this thing.
All right, so next episode we are covering is Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of the Twisted Claw.
One of the better titles.
Yeah. And honestly, one of the better episodes.
Yeah.
So, if you go to Paramount Plus, or if you try to buy this season, you're going to see that the first episode of season 1 is Tale of the Phantom Cab. But it turns out that the Tale of the Twisted Claw was what was shot and shown. It was shown as a Halloween one-off on Nickelodeon that then got it picked up. In which case they recast, reshot, and it ended up being like episode 4. But we felt, because it was a stronger episode, and because it was originally what got it picked up, we should cover this one.
Yeah.
So, summary. On Halloween night, Kevin and Dougie, which, what a name, visit the scary house of Miss Clove, known to everyone as the Witch. Miss Globe gives the kids an ugly twisted claw and claims it will grant the boys' wishes. They soon get more than they bargained for.
That they do, Ty. That they do.
So, Breakdown, created by, directed by, written by DJ McHale, who also was the executive producer. Music by Jeff Fisher. So, a couple fun facts. Turns out Ryan Gosling really impressed DJ McHale and was offered the role of like the lead guy of the Midnight Society, but he had to turn it down because
That was the role he was offered?
yeah.
Oh.
So he was offered that role, but he had to turn it down because he was working on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
So he would later come on and 95
The title of
the
radio
station
station.
109.1.
Yeah, that's the title.
That's the
I
title.
went with that.
But yeah, so other than that, another fun fact, Gary, the Midnight Society, who is kind of the lead guy who Ryan Gosling would have played, I believe, has glasses. And after the first season, they actually take out the lenses because they didn't want the glare of the fire in the shots.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, just a little fun fact. Also, the dust that's thrown in the campfire, non-dairy creamer.
So that's a practical effect?
Yeah.
When it turns whatever color it turns?
When it just gets really big.
That's all practical.
That's all
Oh.
non-dairy creamer.
So the difference between practical and special effects, or I guess visual effects, right? We're looking at, was it done live on set or was it done in post-production? So
Live
you're
on
saying this
set.
was done live? That's, hey, it kind of saves money probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, I can spend $3 on some non-dairy creamer, which in the 90s was probably like $1.50.
Probably hard to find too.
Non-dairy creamer?
Non-dairy?
I mean, I don't drink coffee, so I never looked for creamer.
Me neither.
Regardless, let's pick up. That intro,
Dude,
honestly, scariest thing in the whole series.
it is greater than the sum of its parts. Like that, I can remember vividly like every single frame.
the canoe, the swing set.
The attic with the clown, the swing set, and then the canoe on the shore. I don't know what it is, but and then the music that just gets under your skin, and then some of like the creaks in the like someone's taking a slow step.
The
onto-
ghost like kid laughing.
Yeah, like they just nailed it. Like it's Nickelodeon has some great theme songs. I think this one is probably one of the best just because it's better than the show.
Yeah.
I think.
It achieves the goal the show is trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, also, fun fact, the show was originally going to be called Scary Tales.
Scary Tales.
Kind of like a play on fairy tales, but Nickelodeon was like, can we get something else?
What if? Yeah. It's did we said we watched one of these for our original Whiskeylodeons, right?
We did. We watched the one where like the girl ends up being an alien. And so like these aliens are trying to get her, but she thinks she's just a normal person and being kidnapped, and
That's kind of a cool concept.
it's an interesting concept. Like this show had a lot going for itself for the 90s.
Like I feel like where it failed to deliver is also where it delivered and made it so memorable was the casting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad, but it was perfect at the same time. Like the best actor was the lead guy in the Midnight Society,
Yeah.
but there were some cringe going on throughout the show, and I'm here for it.
I am here for it too.
Yeah, let's talk about this episode.
All right. So, we start off in the room of a young Philadelphia Eagles fan. And the clock is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And then it stops. And immediately this kid wakes up. He goes, "Not again." And then the fog machine blows. And enters this dark hooded figure of death. And like you look at his face and he's more bored than anything else. He's over it.
I like that you called it the fog machine blows, not like an eerie mist creeps through the bedroom. You're like, no. There's a goddamn fog machine in the corner, and it's, one of the special effects guy hit the button.
Yeah. And then he wakes up. He goes, "Oh, I hate that dream." Turns around, and there's death again. And that's when he screams. And it cuts to the Midnight Society where you have a girl scream, and a woman go, "Oh, yeah."
So, okay, This was that scene like shot at the end of production where the director's like, all right, I just need some reactions. Girl one, I don't know their names. So girl one, scream. Girl two, kind of do something similar. Girl three, let's just give some variety. You just had your favorite curry.
Oh yeah. Like that's literally what I sound like when I'm getting like cookies, like really good gourmet cookies. I'm like, oh yeah, like it's just, it's almost like I feel like this is where her horror fetish started.
It's possible. I mean, that's where mine started.
Right?
Yeah, my sex name is Midnight Society. That's it. It's my late night stage name.
All right. So then, turns out that this was actually a cliffhanger. Everyone's like, what happens next? And he goes, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know?
Tease.
I never thought of it. And I'm like, you call this meeting to tell an incomplete story? And everyone's like, well, what do we do? And that's when you get Dave. Dave says, I got a story. And he's immediately made fun of. Oh my goodness, he actually talks. Like apparently he's not a very contributing member.
Which one was Dave?
Dave was the one that looked like he was Dougie. Like the really unimpressive, quiet kid in a jacket.
Like the Howard of the Midnight Society.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very neutral.
Very neutral feeling.
poor
Very
guy.
indifferent feeling.
Don't be neutral, guys.
Don't be indifferent. But anyway, so he's got a story and he thinks it's ready.
Hey, he speaks up. Good for him.
Yeah. So he tells.
The tale of the Twisted Claw.
So turns out the night before Halloween is called Mischief Night. I originally thought they were like making up shit, but no, it's a literal holiday.
That's real?
Yeah.
October 30th?
October 30th is Mischief Night, a night for playing pranks and tricks and all sorts of things.
I guess is it too late for us to start?
It's a night for pranks and tricks and being pricks.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So, yeah, it goes to people. They start putting shaving cream on a car. And then you see the porch light come on. And then two more people come in and start throwing like toilet paper in the tree. And it's like, if you saw the light come on, why didn't you warn them? Hey, the light just came out. Let's run. No, let's keep throwing. Guy comes out. Hey, what are you doing? And the teepee guys leave. The shaving cream guys in the car don't. They keep going.
Ruthless.
Ruthless. So then we're now introduced to the characters of this tale.
Yes.
We are introduced to Kevin and Dougie.
Every kid's name in the 90s was Kevin and Dougie.
Well, they're about to prank the witch. And their prank?
Unbeknownst. They don't know that, do they?
So they have
an
referred
idea.
to her. They've referred to her as the witch.
Okay.
It is rumored that she is a witch. But Kevin wants to be brave. Anything he'd be adventurous with, he's in. Dougie is the Chucky of this tale.
No way, man.
Don't be a wuss. It's Mischief Night.
Yeah, but let's go someplace else.
What's the matter? Afraid the witch is gonna get you?
No such thing.
Then let's do it.
And so the prank is, again, just shaving cream. And they go up to the door and they're going to put shaving cream on the door. But the woman opens the door and ends up getting shaving cream in her face.
What's that going to do, putting shaving cream on the door?
I don't know.
Like, we put that on our desks as kids to clean it. Did you do that?
No.
Yeah. That's a weird memory that just kind of, like, flashed back to me. But, yeah, we would clear off our desks. It was, like, 3rd grade. Everyone got shaving cream. And we would rub it on the desk.
Is this a Canada thing?
I didn't grow up in Canada, but probably. They maybe got the idea. Like, we just rub maple syrup and shaving cream on our desks and apologize incoherently.
Sorry about that.
But she gets it backfires and she opens the door. The shaving cream is all over.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Right over her face. She stumbles. She crashes into this very expensive but like fashionably ugly vase or vase.
Fashionably ugly. We'll go with that. Yeah, it's pretty good.
But yeah, so then they dip out. And man, that's just, I was like, I don't get the shaving cream prank. Like, there's so many things you can do. But anyways, they leave, and the witch like walks out, takes off her glasses, and then she starts smiling.
And this is where it gets weird, if it's not already weird.
And then she starts laughing, but not even like
Is
laughing.
it, though?
It's not a laugh. Like, you think of a witch cackling. Yeah. Like, no. This was. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's. I don't even know what to compare it to. It's kind of like a horse just fell onto a vibrating bed.
Can we play a clip of that real quick?
Yeah, I even after listening to that, I still don't really know what to call it, but it technically is audible. We'll call it. We'll call a horse a horse.
So, anyways, we get to Dougie's house, and so they cut from this woman's thing to Dougie like trying to be scary, and he's wearing a goblin mask. He's trying to scare his dad, and then he's pretending to bleed out in front of his dad, and his dad's just reading the newspaper, like that doesn't even like pay him attention. And then once he pretends to be dead, he goes, "Hey, did you eat your dinner?"
So we're circling back to the vacancy of parents here.
To fathers in general.
Yeah, this is the Stu Pickles of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
And so basically, Kevin comes in, and apparently he dresses as a bum every year because in his mind, you always get the same candy.
Did you ever read Calvin and Hobbes as a kid?
I did.
Do you get like like those vibes from some parents? Like Calvin was always trying to get his parents' attention by doing something devious. Mm-hmm. And Dad was always on the couch reading a newspaper or just completely ignoring his son. Right?
Yeah. I mean, is this like a 90s trope?
It had to have been. I mean, my favorite Calvin and Hobbes was when Calvin's like, "Hey, Dad, it's cold." He's like, "Go outside." He kicks him out into the snow. He's like, and he makes him wait out there for like 15 minutes and then brings him back in so that it's warm. Like, I mean, honestly, that's a good strategy. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with this kid trying to get his dad's attention. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. But anyways, so as they're leaving for Christmas, kids just walk in the fucking house. Like, they ring the doorbell and then walk in the house with their fucking shoes on.
Mm.
Like, I would be like, "No, you ain't getting any candy. Get the fuck out of my house."
I just vacuumed, bitch.
Yeah. I was like, "You ain't cleaning these floors?"
Mm-mm.
Oh, man, that got me riled up.
It did. You should see him right now. He's sweating. It's kind of hot.
So, throughout the whole time, these kids are probably in middle school, maybe 6th grade, maybe 5th, and their vernacular is pretty out there. It's like, "You bent? Let's book." Like, I feel like that's a pretty cool vernacular. I kind of want to bring it back.
Like, you bent, is that like if I'm like Ty, if
I
like,
said something crazy. Mm-hmm, and you'd be like, "You bent?"
Are you bent? And then let's book was like let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds Canadian.
This show was actually filmed in Canada.
Okay, this is starting to make a lot of sense. Now I know why I like this so much.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole series was really shot in Canada. So, turns out what DJ McHale would do after the first season is he would have, once it was picked up, he would have the location scout kind of just drive him around all of Canada. And if he liked a place, he would then write a script around that place. So he would never have to like do location scouting. He would never have to build sets. He could just use what was right there.
That's pretty good use of time, I'd say.
Yeah. I would agree. I was like, that's pretty ingenious, actually.
Yeah, it kind of helps when you have that visual element already in your head, and you can take it from memory or photos or whatever, and just put it to paper. Yeah, I wonder do you think they did that with the campfire scene? I mean, that's a pretty general.
So the campfire scene was actually in a studio.
The stage. That makes sense.
Yeah, on a stage.
Because they always.
And they shot it all like pretty quickly. They kind of pulled the whole How I Met Your Mother approach before How I Met Your Mother was the thing, where they try to shoot it all at once, and then that way they don't have to go back to it.
That makes sense.
So
save money.
But Kevin wants to be the only brave people that goes to the witch's house for Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Like, what is he going to gain from that?
I don't know. But he blackmails Dougie. He goes, well, I'll tell everyone that I was the only one brave and you had to go cry to Mommy. And Dougie ends up going.
That's a theme throughout a lot of Are You Afraid of the Darks, is there's kind of like...
The hubris of pride?
Yeah. And then you matched with, like... hate to call him like a dweeb, but they kind of have that dweeby vibe, but not like even so much just dweeby, just like kind of the moral compass, but not 100% moral either.
Yeah. I would say...
Malleable.
Like, because we watched Tale of the... Oh, the cab.
The Phantom Cab.
The Phantom Cab. And it's like...
Which was actually the first one.
Right, once it was reshot as a series. But it's like, you have like the person who's like a total dick and the other person who's like being dicked on. And it's like, well, the person being dicked on is the hero. This one, yes, but it also felt like friendships. Like sometimes, like, if we're whatever, we're like, hey, dick lips, we'll have fun and taunt each other, per se.
Right. Ty calls me dick lips.
I mean, they are. But regardless.
They're moist.
So they go to the witch's house, and the witch opens the door, and she goes, oh, trick or treat? Trick or treat? It's almost as if she forgot it was Halloween. But then she talks about how it's her favorite holiday. And she was afraid to
She says that?
She says that.
So she takes their line?
She takes their line.
Oh.
Comes in. She's like, come in. Pulls them in. Like, doesn't take no for an answer.
Mm.
And she's like, oh, my goodness. This is my favorite holiday. I'm so glad you guys are here. And they're like, well, we got a lot of places to get candy. Can we just get our candy? She goes, no. I got a special treat for you.
I'm going to traumatize you real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She recognizes them.
Oh, yeah.
So she pulls out a chest and pulls out what she describes as a vulture claw that will grant their wish. And already, like, I've seen some vultures. Like, that's, yeah, there's some.
Yeah, with the claw attached
there's a witchcraft
to the vulture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is some next level shit.
And they're like, oh, we just want candy. And she goes, I won't take no for an answer.
Which is always the right thing to say with candy and minors and Jesus.
Yeah, there's definitely
a lot of
some consent issues here.
Yeah.
But she's getting revenge.
She will get revenge. And that's when we get our first wish. I wish we could go home and lose this trick-or-treating thing. Like, dude, do you know how wishes work? You say I wish, whatever follows is going to happen.
Yeah.
They fucked up from the bat.
Absolutely. And do you remember that high school bicycle gang?
Oh, yeah. That's like the most memorable part. Like, that's the thing that actually sticks in my head throughout the whole episode. Like, I kind of forgot a lot of like the plot points, but I'm like, oh yeah, this bicycle gang. What were they doing there anyway? Waiting?
Well, they didn't even look like they were waiting. They looked like they were like trying to, like,
they're still candy.
Either they were drinking, or like they were obviously doing something where like we just want to be away from people while we do this. When they see kids, like, well, we're gonna go ahead and steal your candy. And they got, like, phantom masks on. They're being super creepy. And Kevin, of course, ain't taking that shit. So he shoves the guy into all the bikes. And then they take off.
Uh-oh. Yeah, uh-oh.
Looky here. Some trick-or-treaters.
You get some candy, boys?
Candy's bad for you. Gives you cavities.
Maybe you should give it to us.
Forget it!
Did I say you could talk, snotball?
So what you got?
Forget it, I worked with a knife for that!
Give it up, Toe Jammer. You ain't gonna live long enough to eat your stupid candy.
And they grab their bicycles. It's a bicycle gang. It's not even a bike gang. It's a bicycle gang.
Like, all the bullies, which I love sometimes how Nickelodeon portrays them, they're dumb. They're all dumb. Mm-hmm. It's like, don't be a bully. That makes you a dumb fuck. And don't be a dumb fuck.
The more you know.
Don't be a dumb fuck.
But yeah, so the bicycle gang, drives off pedals off. They're not that cool.
No, they're not.
And that's when you find out that Kevin and Dougie were hiding in a trash can.
It works.
It worked.
I don't have any notes.
Yeah, it worked. So, but now they're coming home. They're upset, and now they're thinking about Wish 2. And that's when Kevin makes the next wish. I wish I could beat Bostic in the 600.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Take it away.
Bostic. This is definitely Canadian. Watching this scene kind of gave me like flashbacks to like running like the mile in gym class. Like it had like that gym class vibe to it, right?
Did the coach like have a cone to yell at you?
No, he didn't give a fuck. Like none of this was realistic. I was like, wait, why is he yelling at everyone? I guess he was yelling at everyone. I don't know. No, our gym teacher didn't care. It was just like, you just got to finish. You just got to do the thing. Because it was like, I don't know. Like the Panthers were coming to town, the football team. So it was all about like, hey, get your kids outside. Play 60. I don't care what your time is. Just goddamn don't be in front of your cell phone in 30 years.
Yeah.
And listen to a podcast.
So we get the wish. And Kevin says, I don't care if this vulture claw picks my nose, if it gives me what I want. Clearly, Bostic is in the lead. He is crushing it. But Kevin's not doing bad. He's like right by the pack, but he's like leading the pack.
And then
that's when Dougie hears the tree growling.
Yeah, the tree is growling.
And he turns, and a dog who apparently been just sitting behind the tree dashes out. And this is what I didn't get, because clearly Bostic sees a dog. He looks terrified, and then like the dog doesn't bite him, just runs right in front of him, and he trips. And
you're
just
right.
rolls, and like no one else saw the dog, but Dougie, and apparently Bostic, who forgot, because he didn't be like, the dog did that. He just like, oh, it hurts. Like no one else saw it. Like not even Kevin saw the dog.
Yeah, Bostic kind of deserved it though. He's kind of a jerk. Like I don't wish harm on people, but
how is he a jerk? Because here's what I saw. I saw a
his
person.
Face.
Okay, that's fair.
That's it.
That's fair. Because like literally Kevin's sitting there is like, oh, he thinks he's like the best, and Doug is like, well, I mean, he is.
Some of their comedy bits, like I don't think they knew how funny some of those lines would get delivered.
Right.
And like it wasn't even supposed to be like the funniest line, and then it just was.
So now we go to the third wish. So the parents are going out, and Kevin has come over, and Dougie is flipping shit. Kevin is losing his shit. Because Doug is sitting there just going on. It's like, oh, what are my parents going to think when they find out that I had a wish that, or you had a wish that I did this? And finally, like, Kevin's had enough. He goes, I wish you'd lose your folks.
Damn. This is where it gets dark, because the whole episode is not, like, well, hardly. I mean,
it's the classic. It's the classic trope of be careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
And they get a phone call, and it's a police officer. He's like, I'm terribly sorry, but your parents were in a terrible accident, and they're in the hospital. And again, Dougie is losing his shit. He's flipping.
Too.
He's flipping. And he has the claw in his hand, and he goes, I wish Gramps was here. And then it moves.
This 3? This is 3?
Well, so they each get 3.
They each get 3, that's right.
And which makes you think, like, maybe it doesn't have a limit. She just said that. But no, because at the end of the
now
third,
they're on 2 and 2, right?
Yeah, because at the end of one of their thirds, it does disappear. So okay, fair enough.
What would you have wished for in that scenario?
I mean, if I'm being real, I'd probably wish for like a lot of money. I was like, fuck, whatever comes back with me. Sure, I got $1 million. I'll be fine. I'll be like rich people. I can pay my problems away.
Is this after your mom and dad are in the hospital?
I mean, I wouldn't wish my folks to go away.
Yeah, he did it to himself. But if that already happened...
No, Kevin did it to Dougie.
Yeah. So now at this point, what do you wish for? a lot of money.
Still, yeah.
You can buy your way through problems.
Yeah.
You can.
I could pay for the therapy to get me through this.
Donate to our Patreon.
So anyways, he prays for his gram to come back, and Kevin's just like, but your grandpa's dead. And then there's a car horn.
Yeah.
And they look out, and there's Gramps' car.
Yup.
And so now they are wrestling each other. They are trying to grab that claw. They are trying to fix this. And then the doorbell rings. And finally, Dougie gets the claw, and he makes the wish that should have been wished all along.
Start. We're sorry we broke Miss Chloe's vase, and we wish it never, ever happened. Whoa.
But the doorbell's still ringing.
Answer it. I got her.
And luckily, as it opens,
There's his parents.
yeah. And they're like, not vacant.
We forgot the keys. Sorry.
Yeah. Cool.
And then he goes, that doesn't make sense. The phone that was smashed, Dougie smashed the fucking phone like an idiot. But the phone's now not smashed.
Yep.
And Kevin has lost his medal. And everything has returned as it should be.
And Bostwick is king.
Bostwick is king.
Yes.
And then the doorbell rings again. And they look out. And it's the vase. With a note that says, trick or treat.
Yeah, she's really, really laying into that trick or treat line.
And then it cuts to her house, and you hear that fucking laugh.
Guffaw cackle.
Like, oh my goodness.
That's our episode.
Well, so that now ends that tale. Cut to the Midnight Society. No one's screaming. No one's shouting, oh yeah. No one says shit. The guy's like, all right, well, this concludes our meeting. No response. Here we got this guy, Dave, and he's sitting there like, I got a story. No one says shit to him. He literally is the Howard of this group. No one cares.
And that concludes our podcast.
Nobody cares, Dave.
Goodbye.
All right. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming to our first episode ever recorded. You can follow us on the social medias, say hi, let us know what you think about the episodes. If you got a suggestion of a show you want us to watch or a Nickelodeon movie, let us know.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. We have a few ideas up our sleeves, but there are a ton of shows that took place in the 80s and 90s. So if you're a 90s baby, please reach out. You got our Instagram handles. You got our Twitter handles. All of the socials, as Ty mentioned.
You can even email us at whiskeylodeon.podcast@gmail.com. But thanks again, everyone. Until next time.
I'm Sean Beck.
I'm Ty Longworth.
Cheers.
And bottoms up.
Bottoms up, boy.